Hi makers, welcome back to the Maker STEAM Club. I'm your host Godiva. Today we're in downtown Kingston, a UNESCO creative city filled with many stories about music, including the birth of not just one, but 6 genres of music. We're here today to tell a simple story about Kingston and how Jamaicans make music come alive. But we can't do it alone. We need makers like you. Let's make a stop-motion animation using Play-Doh and building blocks. Now, what is stop-motion animation? Stop-motion animation is a type of animation where objects are moved physically in small increments between individually photographed frames so that they appear to be moving when the frames are played back. Stop-motion animation is a great way to combine art, science, and technology. It requires creativity and imagination to come up with a story, as well as the technical skills to set up the camera and capture the frames. Now, here are the things you'll need for your stop-motion animation: Play-Doh, building blocks, a tripod, a smartphone camera, construction paper, cardboard, and props to put in your background, as well as the Stop Motion Studio mobile app for capturing your frames. Lastly, we need a video editing app, which we'll use to stitch everything together. We'll also need some tape, a bit of glue or scissors, markers, and crayons. Now let's start this off with a demonstration of a stop-motion animation we all know. Here's a clip from The Nightmare Before Christmas that was created using stop-motion animation all the way back in 1993.
Welcome to an extraordinary world filled with magic and dreams of something different.
What is this?
30 years later, in 2023, stop motion has been used yet again in the exciting Lego world of the Spideyverse.
My name is Miles Morales. I'm Brooklyn's one and only Spider-Man, and things are going great.
As you can see, stop-motion animation can be used to create really creative and impressive animations. Now, let's get started on our own stop-motion animation project. For our stop-motion animation, we are telling a story from Kingston. If you know anything about downtown Kingston, it's filled with the hustle and bustle of vendors against a backdrop of booming speakers blaring the latest tunes. And as the birthplace of some of the most iconic genres of music, you'll definitely find a little dance hall mixed into our culture. Our story of Kingston will follow our DJ handcart man as he pushes his sound system handcart through the streets of downtown Kingston, passing people along the way. When he gets to the venue, we'll see people pouring into the dance, including our jerk chicken man. And we've thrown in a little twist at the end, which I'm sure you'll like. In order to create this scene, we first started with some inspiration from the popular Orange Street. Our makers got to work putting together the backdrop. Now, filmmaking is nothing without teamwork, and we have varying roles on a team when creating a stop-motion animation. We have our sound engineers, producers, camera operators, set designers, prop designers, and yours truly, the scriptwriter. Now that we have our setting, it's time to start creating our characters. We'll be using Play-Doh to create our characters, so let's get started. Here are some tips for creating characters with Play-Doh. First, start with a simple shape and add details as you go. Use different colors to create a variety of characters. Be creative. And remember, it's your imagination bringing this all to life. If you're using building blocks, you're following similar rules. Again, start simple, add details as you go along, use different colors for variety, and last but not least, the most important rule, be creative. Now that we have our characters and our set, it's time to start animating. One thing to bear in mind is the term FPS, or frames per second. If you play video games, you may have seen 60 FPS before. But for stop motion animation, we use 12 to 24 FPS. That means we are taking 12 photos or 24 photos for each second in our video. So what does that mean if we're creating a 5-second video at 24 frames per second? How many frames in total or photos do we need to take? Let's do the math. What is 24 multiplied by 5? If you said 120 frames, you're right. Good job putting your math skills to work. So that means if we're creating a 5-second video at 24 frames per second, we are taking 120 photos. Imagine that. Now here are some tips for animating with stop motion. First, we want to make small movements between frames. And we need to keep our tripod steady and in one place at all times. That way, once we have our characters and our props set up, we'll simply move the props throughout the scene. That's it for a stop motion animation project. We hope you had fun. Now let's put this all together and have our sound engineers add a little sound and some sound effects.
Boy, I can't take it no more. Me say, bitch out, inna the bus, inna the bus, them a kick up rum.
Alright, STEAMMakers, we just had one wonderful day. We went ahead, we learned about animation, about stop motion filmmaking. We learned how to work together as a team, the different roles involved in filmmaking as well. And I would say we're pretty impressed with what we did today. Now, we still need you to take your making skills and all that you learned here and go out and make. So, see you next week, STEAMMakers. Until